What factors inspired you to become an educator?
I would never have believed ever that I would become a teacher.
My first career choice was not education, it was actually law school.
The teachers here that I had inspired me.
My father was a coach, so I was always around it.
When I was a 8th grader freshman, I just thought our basketball coaches were the coolest guys ever.
I was taking a bunch of science classes and realized that I did not want to be a doctor.
That was something that I could be successful at and enjoy as well.
I remember thinking though that as a guy I wasn't terribly comfortable in English class, and science and history were more manly categories.
I took a couple of education classes in college, really enjoyed it.
And I thought that it really meant something, that it wasn't done well, that maybe I should be one of the many to come back and do it how I feel to do it right.
What are your favorite parts of the year and weakest parts of the year?
Favorite parts of the year.
Well, since it's my first year, I'm kind of figuring out what I like and what I don't. But one thing is I do enjoy is that as a staff, once a month we get free donuts, so that's always exciting.
Every moment where I get to see a kid succeed is a favorite moment.
I think my favorite days are the snake day for environmental science, where a bunch of guys come in and bring all kinds of crazy snakes.
I think for us, being a football coach, of course, football season is definitely the high point.
It's always a high point because we have so much fun in here and we try so many new things and we have a good time together.
Those Friday nights are special and the players look forward to them for sure.
But typically the most difficult time is from about January 1st through somewhere in about mid-February. Those are the doldrums of the year.
I think the weakest part of the year is the third grading period.
And peppered in between those are sometimes some rough moments.
I think that has to do with coming out of Christmas break. Everybody's a little bit kind of done with winter and cold weather.
It's cold, it's bleak, no one wants to do anything, it's just generally depressing.
But it all is worth it whenever you see some success for a student.
What are the greatest challenges you have faced and how have you overcame them?
Currently, some of the biggest challenges that I find as a special educator is I do have my students 4 to 6 years.
I think the hardest part is when students are having problems.
Definitely reaching the students that maybe don't enjoy school or particularly math isn't their favorite, which can happen a lot.
My students were not all raised in my home, and so didn't naturally know the things that I expected.
Making sure that we're producing young men.
Getting our guys to understand the amount of effort that it takes on a daily basis.
Then to figure out that, some of my students were coming from some pretty rough backgrounds where part of the reason they weren't doing well in school was they might have been worried about whether or not the lights were going to be on that night.
Sometimes it's heartbreaking to see all the problems that students are facing in their daily lives.
My biggest challenge is to continuing to try to keep it exciting for my students.
I know they're not always going to have math as their favorite subject, but if they at least catch something that I've taught them, that's always it makes me feel good.
When they walk across that stage and get that diploma, that they are better young men leaving our program than they were coming in.
That I think makes the difference between doing a good job and just kind of filling up a room.
What makes Reitz specifically a great place to teach?
I think Reitz has some unique characteristics.
I'm a little biased when it comes to Reitz. I think there's no better place than right here on the west side.
As a West Sider, lifelong West Sider, and also as a Reitz graduate, there's this built-in affinity for Reitz High School.
I'm not going to say that Reitz is the only school that has good things going for it, but I can tell you what we have going for it that seems to me to be dramatically different than some other schools.
My department is amazing.
It's absolutely the staff.
There's a whole lot of people on staff that went to school together. And if we didn't go to school together, some of the teachers we're teaching with were our teachers.
And just the way our building is built around this hill, I just think it's a very unique setting. It's beautiful with the river.
We have a strength,
Loyalty, a sense of belonging.
The tradition here is very strong, so it's exciting to be a part of it.
It signifies so many great things: family, great community, great support.
That I think no other high school in Evansville engenders with their students.
A tradition that seems to last far beyond the average school.
I mean, I could bike every day to Boonville High School, but it's worth coming here to be with the students, to be with the teachers.
What drives you to relive the school routine every day?
What drives me is Henry, Natalia, Christian, Ben, Taylor, and Joe. Those are my students. They drive me.
The fact that we are all in this business for kids, and I love working with young people.
We have a job to do, and our job is to guide these young men in life lessons.
In our hallway, we have, future foremen at construction sites. We have future office managers. We have future department managers.
It's funny because for all high school graduates, invariably, no matter how much you claim to be tortured by public education, within a short period of time, you realize that to some extent, you miss it.
You've got to expect some struggles, but celebrate every good moment. It's no different than you guys. I may be older, but the struggle isn't any different.
At the same time, they look at you or they say something funny or they say something heartfelt, and you can't help but love them, even though they drive you crazy. Sometimes you want to go out of your way for them.
And so, as part of my teaching belief too, is that I'd like to try and make sure that students are aware of the fact that as a previous reformed hater, guys, think about all the opportunities that are available for you and take advantage of as many as possible, because the time you're here, which I know is 4 supposedly epically long years, that really that time flies by so quickly.
And I think that we are blessed to get to do that on a daily basis.
If you could summarize your experience at Reitz High School in one word, what would it be and why?
In one word, what would it be and why? Okay.
One word: awesome.
Adventure.
Awesome.
Blessed.
I would say an awesome year.
Unexpected.
Awesome.
I think the word would be worthwhile.
There's highs and lows. So many people come up to me after being hired last year at this time. Man, I don't want to be in your shoes. I'd hate to be in your shoes. And I kind of look at them like, why?
I wake up and there's days where I might be more motivated than other days.
Because even though there's days where you feel like you're not accomplishing things, or the students frustrate you, or you don't do a good job.
I always tell my students, guys, find something that you do that challenges you, but also it's something that makes you think, keeps you engaged.
Guarantee it, there's no more pressure from those guys than I put on myself.
But the bottom line is, once you're up, your task always ought to be, what can I do today to make it a productive day, to make it a good one, not just for me, but to make it easier and better for other people.
At the end of the year, you've seen growth in people.
It is a truly great community to grow up in.
Because I think we're very fortunate to get to do this, and I think this is the greatest school in Indiana.
I have the best students, in the building, and they're just fabulous.